Hola community, it's Pablo Vazquez here live from Amsterdam with more news about the Blender world, the Blender universe, and today with a very special announcements because we have the Blender development has a new patron sponsor. It's the biggest category of sponsorship that we can have, and to talk about it, we're gonna have our friend all the way from the Blender Animation Studio. We're gonna have Francesco City. Let me add a
hello. Hi. Wow, beautiful. Thank you.
How are you, Francesco? It's been a while. I didn't have you on the show.
Yeah. It was the anniversary, the 50th centennial anniversary of the BlenderToday Live. So it's been a while. How many episodes have you done now?
116.
Wait. So wow.
You missed the 100.
So, yeah. Crazy. So yeah. Very exciting. Thank you for having me.
No, please. It's who's better than you to talk about this greatest news of the day, that Unity. Well, actually, we have like 3 things to talk today, right? We have 3 topics, so it's not only about blah blah sponsor. We also have other more exciting. I don't know if it's more exciting, just as exciting news regarding Blender itself. So news. So what happened? What does it mean? Unity joining Nvidia, AMD, and Epic Games. What does it mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it means that like it's so cool to see an organization, a company that is like in the real time and in the gaming space to recognize the value of Blender, and they do it because they are aware that Blender is out there and is being used, and they see that there is a benefit in giving something back to the Blender community, and that they make such a nice and significant and bold statement is super rewarding, and we are super happy about it, of course. And
Unity and Blender have been like the workflow has been around for a while.
Yeah, like I remember actually it was one of the first kind of high-profile integration that was visible out there. I remember when I discovered, it's basically almost 10 years. Yeah, like it's been a really long time that you could simply have a blend file and load it in Unity. Like you have content inside of a blend file. Somehow you were able to actually see the content inside of Unity. And that was really cool. And people took advantage of that. And then you let some time pass, and with the growth that Blender had, and all the workflows that have been built around it, it got more and more meaningful, and so it's really nice to have this at this point. And in fact, one of the main topics that came up while having conversations with the Unity team, discussing this membership, is for them how important it is, the integration, the interoperability, to really making sure that this kind of connection can be as smooth as possible. And that's one of the goals also of this membership. Like for them, this is what matters to them a lot. And I think that it's a great sign. So it was a pleasure to get this started. And I think that for the gaming world, which historically has been like towards Blender a bit ambivalent, we had a few, like, of course, thanks to what Ubisoft has done, or Embark, like to get these studios and organizations that get involved with Blender. And now Unity, it's a great path. It
is, and this is a win for the community, because without the community, without actually people using both Unity and Blender, and I bet the Blender community has been poking Unity teams. It's like, hey, can we use this? Can you support this? Can you like add this feature? Can you improve the connection between them? And that helps a lot. So it's a win for the community, by the community as well. So
absolutely, yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, look at that.
Like, the list is just growing very well, so much so that the bar is complete. We have 20. There are 20 developers hired.
Yeah, like we reached 100. So automatically, as you hit that number today, a new developer spawned inside of the studio, and it's already working.
Plunk is like That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what does it mean? It means there are 20 developers. I asked Dalai, and there are there are developers for pretty much every area in Blender working on it, and I think we can see that on Wednesday there was the latest LTS release, the Blender 2.83.5 release, and next week on Wednesday it will be Blender 2.90 is gonna come out. So one release every week basically. There are a lot of comments saying like it's too fast to stop developing.
Yeah, I think that also as we reach this number, of course, it's again obviously very exciting because we can cover more areas of Blender and to get more expertise. Especially it means that sometimes that the developers will be able to dedicate more time to work on the areas and to keep growing them. And the truth is though that Blender also grows in popularity and user adoption, and so that also adds a little bit of it's something that balances off quite a bit, because Blender, if you would have told me 1 year ago or 2 years ago when we were setting kind of the limits and the measures for the development fund that we would get to 20 developers, like we asked ourselves that question, which is, if we get to that point, then it means that there will be such a user base so active and so involved that it will be possible to have 20 developers, but there will also be that pressure of having what allows those developers to be there in the first place. And so in the end, it's not that we are gonna fly to the moon tomorrow, or that self-aware Blender AI is released in a month, but at least a general is good to see that there is growth basically. And at this point, of course, with such a team of developers, we have to start looking into the organization topic, which was there already at the time when the Epic Mega Grant was there. So like how to really make sure when you have 20 people in a room, is not that you just tell people, okay, go develop. No. You need to have some sort of coordination or some sort of strategy to get work done, and this becomes more and more important. So like that also for the future of the development fund, that really is going to become a focus and an important target to keep track of, because otherwise you keep adding developers and that's not really sustainable, obviously.
Especially now when we are about to get the first steps into the Everything Nodes project, where everything is gonna be intertwined. I think it's very, very, very important that the support continues, right? Like by the people, by the awesome, amazing people that are continuing here. Like Shices. I know, first time I see this. It's just crazy. So there, next, what is next in the Blender agenda? Because today another big announcement happened regarding Blender, right?
Yeah.
In the Blender channels, more specifically in the Blender. Let's see who's following Blender. Blender is following the Blender developers, Blender Network, Blender Cloud, and Blender Conference. Conference. We need to update.
What happens?
This happens. This happens. This happened. Announcing, introducing Blender Conference 2020.
So it happens after all.
It happens. It happened. No, but it's kind of. Let's read more. Together, apart. What does it mean? Together or apart?
Or both.
Or both.
Best of both worlds.
Together, apeder. The together apart concept. What is it? It's the combination. It's an idea by Ton, actually. Ton came up with this.
Yeah, we've been so shook and sad with all the things that have been happening in the world. Already we had to cancel the VCon LA, our first US-based conference. It was gonna be. We were looking at a fantastic location. It was the first time that we could really easily get a lot of people from the States, even just from the LA area. It would be so easy to get everyone together, and we were really looking forward to it. And then at the beginning of the year, we started to get like a bit nervous about if this was going to be possible or not, and then we had to call that off, and that was already sad. And we're looking forward for the next year. and we were hoping, of course, okay, at least we do the one in
Amsterdam. Of course. Yeah. That's in October. Who's gonna?
Yeah, exactly. And then a few months later, we had to commit to that because there is a whole organizing the Blender conference is not something that happens 1 month before, 2 months before. It takes like 6-8 months to kick off some things.
Yeah.
And so at some point we had to make the decision, and that's when the announcement was published that we would not do the on-location event in Amsterdam. Come on, like, what can we do that is not just that is just canceling the event, like that we can make something that is equally or at least that can kind of replicate that vibe, that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why we, after talking a while, it was like, okay, how can we get this to be happening online in a way that is not just a big Zoom call, which is not the best way to bring people together.
It's horrible.
And, or to make some, we have seen a few solutions being applied by various organizations to kind of get these things done, and we are not very thrilled with the results. So it's like, what can we do? And so here is the idea.
Bam.
Let's
meet.
Yeah, to have basically to bring together, like to get what makes the Blender conference special, which is meeting people, being together with people, catching up with people, with friends, with new people, and of course to nerd out about Blender, to share the latest and most awesome stuff that we have been doing with Blender.
This is what makes Blender conference awesome.
So that is, but these two components.
Corona, so much Corona. Like when I look at this picture, it's like you're too close.
No, this wouldn't work.
This wouldn't work. Look at this place. You can't. Yeah, this is last year.
That's illegal.
And it was just fine. Now you can't. And you can fit 5 people in this place.
So yeah, how can we at least get close to that? And so the idea is to basically have this to bring this dimension of the feeling like you're talking to someone, catching up with them, talking to them about what's happening in their life, what is going on, and at the same time to also see the new cool Blender stuff. And so we believe that a possible format is to create kind of one video, one almost feature film out of Blender presentations that then we will premiere together on the day of when the conference was supposed to happen and enjoy it all together. And that's what this Let's Meet idea comes from.
However, there is something personal there. It's not like coming here and sharing like your latest and greatest, well, also your work, but there is something personal. What does it mean? What happened to you last year? How did you experience a pandemic? So it's trying to connect both things, because we all around the world, for the first time I think in history, internet recorded history, is that everybody on Earth is on the same boat, that we can't go out, or we shouldn't at least go out for a longest part of this year. So there is the Blender side, and what do you do with Blender this year?
Yeah,
from home.
Yeah, exactly. And like we have already heard, of course, many stories in, within the community, or people that have been writing to us what's been going on. And there are some, really stories that are worth sharing, and we look forward to hear really what people are doing in their life, It's not all a disaster, thankfully. And so that's what we really hope to show, and that's what hopefully makes it like a very varied and entertaining viewing experience. When thinking of this, it almost the idea of putting together like this really fast presentation, it's almost like the lightning talks at the Blender conference, which is like a staple of the conference, where people have 5 minutes on stage, which is a lot of time. And sometimes it gets awkward, but it's very enjoyable because we are all together in the same room, and people are just free to improvise and entertain.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is going to be even more, like, it's a little bit more in that direction, but of course it's going to be edited, so it's going to be even more enjoyable, I hope.
However, this will be it's a nice segue, because how you mentioned something about the viewing experience. So viewing experience. How can we all feel like we are in the same place? And this is a fantastic segue to what comes later, which is the comfort box. Yes. This is what is gonna tie everything together. Besides having a video of everybody from home, just hanging out, just going to the, like, wherever they have their office or their house, their pets, extra points if you have a cute pet for that video showing what you've been doing with Blender in the last year. But also wearing maybe something that connects us all together. Yeah, eating something that connects us all together.
Exactly. So like really the idea is to recreate the Blender conference experience, and so we create this comfort box. At first, when we were discussing the idea also with Tom, like he was pitching this, okay, you know, I want to have a box, and we, you know, it's going to be like a comfort box. You know what a comfort box is? You know, some people didn't even know what a comfort box is, because usually it's something that people use to overcome really clinical or very deep stress and trauma. So it's, you know, it's something that if you need a comfort box, usually it's because you can really be going through rough spots.
Yes.
And not having the conference is not exactly, you know, that, but...
I want this now. But
it helps. It really helps, and it's a super fun idea, I think. And so what we plan to do is... we really wanted to announce this at the same time, you know, as the call for submissions. But logistically, organizing this box is a little bit tricky because we want everyone to get the box before the conference.
In time, yes, starts, for October, right? October 30th, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And do not open it before that. However, to ship internationally nowadays, it's a challenge, especially like for it doesn't matter where you are. If you're European based, it's tricky to ship to Australia, Asia, and US. If you're based in the US, it's tricky to ship in other places, and so on.
I'm expecting,
so it's always a little bit of a logistical challenge. So we are still figuring something out there.
Yes, and people from all over the world should get it, right? So it should be sent like now to be there.
Make sure, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna send my mom one.
Yeah, so that's like, you know, the idea is that you get this box, and then at the day of the event you open it and you basically have your mini Blender conference experience. And we hopefully put in some little fun personal touches that make it really like what the Blender conference is, which you really feel that people, you know, care about you, and you know that you're dealing with other people that are making this event for you. And so we will try our best to make that and to make you feel that, and that's gonna be fun.
This is so much fun. You know what else is fun?
Tell me more.
Segue after segue. So this is amazing. So the call for what is the call to action? What are we asking people to submit a proposal for a video, short video, 2-minute video? But first, let us know what you actually want to share. What do you want to talk about? Right? Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So like a little outline, you know, be short and to the point. And then after that, we can provide the feedback on the video format, how the titling is going to work. Because then we get we start to get a picture of what kind of content will be presented, and then it helps a lot to then make the video more entertaining and to make it work. Yes. So first, just, you know, think up of what you want to show and what you want to share. And for once, actually, this is amazing because it in a sense, Blender conference accept applications and proposals from all over the world, but for some people it's always a challenge to say, well, you know, I come from the other side of the world, you know, my talk gets accepted, but maybe I cannot afford to fly, or there are always, you know, logistical issues. So this way, it's really like an opportunity for everyone. So I'm very curious to see how much more diversity we're gonna get in the submissions. Who knows?
I hope. All right. Next topic.
Next.
Did you say something that I can connect with this segue? Something fun. Okay, fun.
Entertaining videos.
Entertaining videos, such as the one that will present Blender 2.999. Yes, because as if you're familiar with the latest releases, the greatest, and if you have seen the internet melt in excitement by the videos that were done in the past for Blender 2.83, like we are seeing here in the video, or also the 2.82 that was also very popular because it was the first in a series of growing in epicness, showing what Blender is possible. Blender version is possible to make stuff in 1 minute or so. So very short video with cool artwork. What is the what do we need a community for?
So we are looking for content, because it's really in the past we didn't really do it that much. We relied on the release notes and just more informally asking around to people or to even artists at the Blender animation studio to provide some demos, which is, you know, of course very nice, but sometimes there are areas of Blender that see changes and improvements that are so localized and specific that get other people even more excited. Yeah. And then it's just great to give an opportunity to people that really rely on those features to create content to be able to share that. And so I thought, okay, like this time, let's try to reach out to the world and say, hey, do you have any ideas or any suggestions? And I think we might get something out of it. I think this one, I think is definitely interesting.
It's amazing.
Because again, you can really see the very specific use of the
cloud simulation here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's very nice. It's a great example. So I hope to get a few more of those, and that will be done together in the video.
Yeah.
And
so where should people contact you? Here on Twitter, just reply or Twitter or
Twitter. just
make a Twitter account if you
the Twitter thread. Like I mean, you know, there is a lot. You can
also post it on Blender
over there.
You can post it on Blender.Today and mention it to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Focus
of course, you can do that. We should do definitely a post there too. I started with Twitter. I think we can reach out in the different places, and then people can just respond wherever that they see the content.
You know
I've seen someone replying, hey, you know, I'm working on this great thing, and you know, maybe I will share it. I was like, I'm not really looking for that. We're more looking for, did you do something, you know, that you can show? This is not like an opportunity to make something new. People do stuff. Wow, this website is so nice and very practical to use. You just copy paste. And
I just copy paste and it works. And then I will just do like make a thread. Wow. Bam, it's published. So here it is. Look at that.
Wow.
As we speak. So here is the place where people, I'm gonna share it here on the chat as well, so people can write somewhere else that is not on Twitter, so we don't push people to Twitter or Mastodon or Facebook or other places.
Yeah,
all absolutely. Right, that's so that's 3 announcements. Unity connect, join the they will start with you. Unity join as a patron of the Blender Development Fund. The Blender Conference called for proposals, so you can submit your motivation to make a video and present your work, the work you have done during this crazy year. And during this crazy year, especially in the last 3 months, if you have made anything that is using the Blender 2.90 features, especially if you're using those features, that will come really handy. For example, the sky. I think we have some artwork by Andy that is made things on with the sky. Sculpting. If you have sculpted some very crazy stuff that is not a cube, even better. Any other features that you find here as well. I'm going to share this on the chat, and that is 3 announcements for today. That is awesome. I have to answer some questions here. I don't know if you want to hang out. I don't know if you are working. Yeah, you are working.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. Maybe, I don't know, is there any question that you think it might be useful to answer together? Something that might be from a quick scroll?
Anything.
Otherwise, I think I can.
First questions. Hi, Pablo and Blender community. All right, let's just switch gears. Let's just go into... This is the question mode Q&A for the first time ever with Francesco City. Hi, Pablo and Francesco. There's an open more than 4,000 proposals on right-click select, and it's a little bit messy. There's 2 with over 100 upvotes. Propositions of edit mesh, many duplicates, about UV coloring without moderating right-click select, is losing functions as ideas aggregator, and many good proposals are lost. Are there any plans to make this a better place? And maybe an episode of Blender.Today with review of proposals. Devs could say what is possible and what could be bumped because it's not possible to implement. All right, so this question has 2 answers. One of them is that it would be nice to get developers input, maybe do a developers special blend right click select, I can get someone from the one thing's a bit more normal at the studio where we can record there. I think it's easier. And the other side of the spectrum of this is very nice to have my friend and colleague in this endeavors website endeavors.
This was a trap. I knew it.
It's a trap. We didn't plan this at all, but Francesco and I are the creators of Blender.community, the website. The software behind it is a mix of Blender Cloud, but we started this 5 years ago. Right now, as we speak, we are working, not literally now, but we're working on the 4th version of the Blender community website, which in the past I think we tried to make it very generic and try to like let people make their own communities and stuff, but it will take us a bit away from actually focusing on the communities that are working and that need extra attention for these for their specific needs, like graphical. We made graphical at some point. It was great, people loved it, but right click select, for example, we added some filtering options, but they could be better. So we're working on a new one, right? Can I say that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of also in the repository, which is public, where people often report issues or improvement suggestions and so on. We've been mentioning that we have been working on it. Of course, this is more a passion project than something that we have a fairly limited time during our working hours because there is so much going on with Blender, but we really believe that it's useful to create this kind of tools, this kind of platforms. That's like how it was.
This is the very first version. This is 2016, the first release, but we were in alpha beta for a while, and I think it's 5 years before that. It was the very first version. It was only about news. It was for people to post news. Then we decided, hey, let's make it a bit better, a bit nicer, more multiple communities, so that way we could have Blender in Spanish. I was making the Spanish videos and the Blender.Today, and then bam, we reached
right click select, and then it exploded and it got even bigger.
Bigger, yes. And because right click select was using this system, and then it's like, okay, let's merge it with right click select. So now the idea is that we are going to be working on this new version of Blender community in a more standard develop. If you're a web developer and know a bit of Python, Django, HTML, CSS, of course, it should be easier even for people to get involved, and improved right click select, Blender community, graphical, and everything for everybody. It's open source.
Yeah, I think that is going to be really a milestone, like as a next stage. And while there are a few solutions out there to build these kind of communities, what we want to do, it's fairly specific. So even this idea of having the different communities, being able to log in with your Blender ID, and then have a place where you can upload Blender builds, and then have a place where you can look for events, and then have a place where you can post Blender suggestions. If you want to make it really like a nice, like feel really nice and custom, in the end, it's worth, because we ask ourselves the question, right? After so many years of maintaining and upgrading and making many websites, is this worth the effort? Is it worth doing? And to this day, it feels like, yes, it is. And especially if we rely on more, standardized workflows, and like, for example, using the Django framework, I think it's going to, it will help us a little bit to work a bit faster and to be a bit more agile. So expect that we don't really have like a deadline for this, like very strict, but we are quite committed to get this done soon. Like I would estimate that it's like a few weeks of work.
Months,
without specifying.
I would say for hopefully for the Blender conference, maybe end of October we could have. Before that, we could have it. That's one goal. But let's not promise anything. We can only promise that it's gonna be even more awesome, because it will be super tailored at like what people want. Better filtering, better grouping or duplicated topics. You could merge them and all this stuff. All right, completely unexpected turn of events here.
Yeah. This was like if that's the extent of the every answer that we give, I think it's not gonna.
It's not gonna work out. Then unless you are super.
This is very dear to us. That's why we spend time answering like this. But
yes, yeah. The other ones are related to outliner and displacement, add bump and stuff. How familiar are you with that? I can, if you have to go, I can continue with the questions.
Yeah. I mean, thank you so much for having me, and you know, it's always nice to be around and to be able to share and to be in the show. I think it's really cool to see people excited about it, and it's I hope to be around for another episode.
I hope, and not wait 50 episodes more to do it, because it's super fun. Blender.Today was, as we mentioned, it was born the idea with Francesco, and that then I made the YouTube thing, but with all the support from Francesco, so it's always special when you're in the show. Thank you. I will see you around. Thank you for dropping by with all the news, and see you around.
See you, everybody. Thank you, Pablo.
Ciao.
Have a good one. Ciao. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. How is everybody there? Everybody, sorry we got a bit extended with all the questions, but I think it's always fun to have, especially someone with so much input in the studio. If you don't know Francesco, he's pretty much everything around the Blender studio right now. Film producer, he produced the open movie projects, but it's also taking care of more Blender Foundation stuff, helping out Ton a lot. So let's see what is next in the questions. Perfect pronunciation from Francesco. Yeah, I'm from Argentina, and in Argentina they say that it is like the Italian of Spanish. Sounds Italian, but it's Spanish. Let's move on. All right, so the next question, let's see. The next question is by MindVisual12. MindVisual12, it's here. It's asking, hi Pablo, I missed you last week. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. We are working on the Blender 2.90 release notes, and it's crazy. You would think like a Blender, well, it is a lot of work to keep up with everything that is happening, but also today we had the Blender conference announcement, which we were talking about during the whole week and the previous week, and before that, well, all the announcements. I mean, announcing Unity, you know, there is many things that you have to arrange, and updating the Blender Development Fund and the page and the websites, Blender.org. It's a lot of things going on, not only just Blender the software, also reviewing some UI stuff. It's the amount of work, it's really crazy. So sometimes last week I decided to focus on the release notes, because that is really what helps Blender promote like this page, but for 2.90. I'm already working on it, and I think it's gonna look pretty neat, but yeah, it's gonna take a bit. Wednesday is I know what I'm doing this weekend. I'm gonna be working on that page, but it's awesome, right? I can't complain. Next, MindVisual. So I missed you last week. Is there a setting that the outliner does not move objects alphabetically? It bothers me when an object moves after being renamed. A setting that to make the object not move when you rename it. Well, in the new if you go to DevTalk, you're gonna see that in the outliner summary of code, there are some improvements on the sorting. You can, well, I don't know. Actually, now I don't know if it's even there. So City Blender. Let's see if I have it. I didn't compile it, but I have. Oh, LandPR. LandPR is moving forward. By the way, the line rendering for NPR, it's moving forward really well. So there is sorting of the objects, and I have to confirm with Nathan if it's still there. But there's sorting that of the custom sorting for your objects, so that shouldn't be an issue. But no, currently there is no option at the moment to sort. Or is there? because you can sort. No. Because you can sort alphabetically, and if you remove this, when you rename, it shouldn't pop around because it's made on creation date. So even if I add a little monkey over here, for example, it's at the bottom, and if I name it a something, a Suzanne, this shouldn't pop. No, it doesn't. And then I click on sort alphabetically and it goes up there. So that is there. There is no custom sorting yet, but that is there. Next question, Ahmed Fluch. Hey Pablo, is it possible to add a displacement and bump option in Eevee for visible displacement that deforms a mesh using an image texture? This is apparent in a video about make sci-fi cities in 5 minutes from Pop Nerd. Not familiar with the video or the YouTuber, but the displacement and bump for Eevee is not possible at the moment. I think you mean the one like the cycles one. Unfortunately not. I'm not sure if that is possible with Vulkan though. Maybe it is. I bet it is. If Unreal did it, should be possible somehow. Unreal 5. But yeah, no, at the moment it's not possible. Next question. Hello Pablo. Hello Francesco. Hey, so you posted now recently. How are you, brother? It's me again. It's me. Fast. Brother, is there any proper way to export objects from a Boolean mesh? Thank you, brother. Blender saved my life. Oh, that's nice to hear. No, there is currently no way to like, this is how Booleans work. What you can do is to add a remesh modifier right after. So remeshing is gonna convert it to quads, which is gonna just anywhere. For example, if I add a Boolean here, if I add a Boolean and then I use this object, then I should, yeah. So that is gonna look a bit weird, but if I add a remesh right after, it should solve that issue. You have to make it very small though, so you don't lose the shape. But that way, this is actual geometry, you know. So you see, it's actual geometry. It's not like the weird one. Let's move on. OpenCL support for Linux. Yes, there is. I don't have a graphics card to try it here, but yes, we have. I have a NVIDIA graphic card. That's why I don't see it here. But shoot, or no, I think I don't even compile locally myself. I compile my own Blender. That's why. Thank you, Mind Visual, for helping out here, FS, with the question. The next question by Red Dot Award winner. Congrats. Hi Pablo, I would like to request a feature for the compositor. It would be nice if it were possible to transform elements by dragging and using other panels to tweak the settings for the nodes. It would make people's life much easier. Wait, would it be possible to transform elements by dragging? For the compositor? I think you can, right? You can transform. So for example, if I have here and oops, I crashed. I think I don't have render. Oh, it crashes on render. Maybe something with Eevee that I broke myself. Cycles, yeah, cycles work. The setting that I'm talking about is in the compositing, use nodes, and I think if you can drag and drop the backdrop, and I think the masks, the mask you can, no, actually not. I was wrong. Or can you? It's white around the edges, so maybe I can. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. No. I've been using... No, I didn't. I don't know. It would be very nice. We have the widgets. There are 2D widgets. I thought I had them, that you could use them, but apparently... no. no, I can't get it to work. And using other panels to tweak the settings. Well, you can do that actually. You can. Wait, if you have like a whole bunch of, if you close your all your nodes, or even if you can, if you press toggle node preview, for example, it's gonna remove the preview. So you can just have a more collapsed node. If you instead do toggle node options, bam, the node options are gone. So you only have the inputs and outputs. So this is more like other softwares, right? And if you want to change the settings, just go to the sidebar, item, properties. So this actually shows all the properties that you have here. And the same for the box. So you could even work with all the nodes collapse, you know, like hide with H. And you could actually just change the settings from here for every node, even for shading nodes and stuff. I crashed Blender. There's something with my Eevee that I broke. Next. No, also, will the solid objects physics engine be upgraded in the future like MantaFlow? I think some people are having a hard time getting rid of glitchy movements while trying to simulate rigid bodies using mesh data. Well, the advent of particles and everything nodes project, it should tackle some of these physics issues. But the engine, which is called Bullet, is still the same. Antoine Baga says, hi Pablo, a few days ago I did a performance test Blender 2.83.0. You should always try with the 0.5, with the latest, which in this case nowadays is 0.5, because there has been a lot of fixes, like over 100 fixes, I would say. And 2.91 alpha, I subdivided the monkey up to 2 million faces in edit mode and duplicated Shift-D until Blender crashed. Here are the stats. I was able to reach some config, nothing happened. Where does this huge performance gain come from? You're doing an incredible job. Hey, that's very nice. I thought it was gonna report, you know, we're used to always get the complaints, right? But it's nice when you get the compliments. The performance gain, there are so many areas that have been touched in Blender for performance. There has been from the viewport, from the developer, from the depth graph. You can read more on the release notes about all the performance improvements that were done. For example, in 2.91, I think you can already find for modeling for 2.90. I think it should be for 2.90, but there's like data duplication when you duplicate stuff, when you saving blend files, also improvements, as in faster, also more performance all over the place. It's hard to pick exactly what is that made it better. It's just that it's better. The viewport, it's also getting faster. Outliner selection, like playing with the outliner and having things update on the view, it's also much faster right now. So there are improvements all over the place, and all of that again is thanks to the Blender Development Fund, because of the developers can be paid and to have to work more time on polishing and cleaning up and making things nice and tidy. Because imagine if there was not enough money, or for like 5 people, then those 5 people, they have to choose. Do we work on new stuff, or we work on improving what is there? Now there are 20 developers, including Ton, including Dalai, that more manage than develop, but still it's needed, right? You need that kind of, it's important. Now there is some to spare to say, like, okay, you work on new stuff, I work on fixing or going through bug reports and stuff. 14 Arianudin. Hi Pablo, I wanted to ask, have you checked the current state of auto remeasure? It is an alpha state, but the results are looking good. Do you think the developer that implemented QuadriFlow in Blender will be interested in helping out with this project, as it could benefit Blender as well, if it was integrated and built in Blender? Actually, auto remeasure, the developer, he was I don't know if, no, this is not the comment, but we talked about this once here in Blender Today Dalai was around, and Dalai went to ask the developer that implemented Quadriflow in Blender, and they got in touch, and they are connected. So it's in the keeping an eye on it. It's still very early stages. That's what the developer even say, like the actual developer of Auto Measure. That's what he mentioned. But still, it's super nice that you know that people are connecting to each other. All right, so let's see. Official Reanimation Studios. Hi Pablo, I wanted to ask that is it possible to add a string node socket to the attribute node? I already written as a feature request. Click here to view the post. Let's see, new attribute node. This is a feature request, a new string type input socket that can be introduced in attribute node. String type. I think this is something for the it's an input socket for the functions branch, which is the if you are using a development version of Blender, you can enable it actually from the experimental. You need to enable first developers extras here in interface, then go to experimental and enable the new particle system. In here, once you're here, you're gonna see in the any editor for the simulation here, node editor, you're gonna find the oh, I have it broken. You're gonna find all the nodes that are around for this. Maybe some of them are even done already. Some of them are mockups, is in highly work in progress. But people are actually making stuff already. Next, PMG Mengele. Hi Pablo, I was wondering if the rigid body world is getting any upgrades, like what's with the fracture modifier. Apart from that, thanks for the awesome program. Thank you very much. The rigid body world is what we mentioned before in the previous question, and the fracture modifier is developed externally. It's a different someone from the community that is contributing it, so it's not really up to Blender itself to when would that happen, unless the patch is for review. In that case it would, but I'm not sure exactly what the status is of that. And the best way to know is to just search for it and see, like search the developer.blender.org website, where you can follow pretty much every development in Blender. You can even see, for example, in which version we are right now and when are the new ones coming. So fracture modifier 2.8 port. Oh, there is even a task that is a number 800. Now we are in like 8,000. Okay, 2014. Maybe this is not active anymore, but here there is something more recent. And yeah, Martin Felke, where was this updated? Update 2018. Maybe it needs some more poking. Oh, the people are poking actually here. 226. New proposal 2018. When you see that, just give it a little poke just to see how it's going. Actually, on July 15, he updated the new voxel measure modifier. That's also something that has been keeping him busy. The OpenBDV modifier. Look at all the load that it's getting. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have idea. We have to ask Michael. Sam, hello Pablo and Dalai. No, it was Francesco. I'll always look forward. Let's see. How's the chat going, by the way? Hey guys, a little late. I heard that Unity is the new sponsor. Yes, Unity is the new sponsor, pattern sponsor. So the question by Sam is two questions actually. Are there any plans for the pointiness attribute to be supported in Eevee in the near future, or procedural weathering setups? I managed to find a task authored by Clement last year where he suggested that it was low priority, but it will take a week to port Eevee. I've considered in the meantime creating a Python script that uses a ported algorithm to write the pointiness values, but I ran into roadblocks with my understanding of the original C code algorithm. This is August. Oh, actually, it's 1 year ago. Exactly 1 year ago. Eevee has been going through so many like cleanups and rewriting on some of the areas that maybe we need to check again how what is the status of this, which is actually the question here 2 days ago by Sohaib. So let's see what Clement has to say about that. Maybe it's easier. Right now Clement is working on Vulkan support for Eevee, which is, I think, is the highest priority we should have for this project, because that will open the doors to so many new features that are not possible right now with OpenGL, or it's just more cumbersome. Vulkan is more future-proof and past-proof also, because it works for hardware in the past, and Mac should like it a bit better. The second question is, you've discussed previously that texture nodes are now end of life. Yes, they are. Have any ideas been formed on what will eventually replace them? Obviously, it would be great to be able to drive particles, scattering, etc. with shader nodes down the line, when particle nodes are more complete, for example. But as shaders are calculated at render time, I'm wondering if there is a proposed alternative solution. Not that I know so far. It's the idea is there, that about working on that area. The vertex paint at the moment for sculpting is being worked on by Pablo Dobarro. He's working, and actually you can already test it even, but that's part of the whole process. The idea is that the texture, not the texture nodes, but the texture workflow entirely, like the painting part, it's handled by Pablo. So ideally we should see something awesome. Regarding the texture nodes, no plans at the moment, unfortunately. I guess once the everything nodes project is a bit more going, it will get easier once that design is there. Let's see. Hi Voidium, I would like to know how bug fixes are shared between Blender versions. Say, will 2.9 bug fixes include those fixed in 2.83 LTS, or they are specific to LTS, and even if they share most underlying tools? Yes, they are shared when possible. When possible. What does it mean? It means that, for example, if you have a bug fix in mesh modeling, that hasn't changed much from 2.83 to 2.91, so the fix will go to 2.83 and then it will be merged into 2.9. That's usually how it goes, or the other way around. Is fixed in 2.91 and merged back, but the fix is always on every version as much as possible. If the area has changed a lot because it changed, because I don't know, the sequencer, their improvements right now, for example, if you can't make a fix in both versions, then it's only gonna be in the newest release. 2.83 is getting fixes, and as long as they are not like taking a month to be fixed, they are gonna be part of that release and the new release as well. So if you want to use the most stable Blender, 2.83 LTS is gonna be the most stable Blender, but if they use 2.91, those fixes are going to be there as well, on top of the new features that can crash your Blender. Like here, I managed to get my Blender to crash because I'm using development version, and I have done probably something weird with Blender. Let's see the next question. How are we doing? How late is it? Okay, we have 5 more minutes. How's everything on the chat? Can you please make a video on retopology? Pablo, I saw your work with Ubisoft. The trailer was super dope. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's talking about my work on this is a little bit of self-promotion, but the video is amazing, and the fact that Blender these cycles was used there is just awesome. So super happy to work in this project. Let's go back to the questions. Reston, any news on adaptive subdivision? I asked a few weeks ago and you said you did not know. It's been a while, not anymore. No, actually no, there's no work being done on adaptive subdivision yet. Damian Winichenko, it's not fair to put a bunch of questions in one message, so I hope at least one of mine will be updated. Thank you very much, that's very kind of you. Let's see. Hi Pablo, another technical feature question. Is there any plan on physics with shape collision, box, capsule, convex hull in particle nodes? Yes, there will be a collision. There will be a collision. Well, now I have something that I'm actually crashing my Blender, but you should be able to, now the compositor in the simulation editor, to have a collision, to have some kind of collision force. Input, yeah, I don't have it here, but yeah, it would be possible. Collisions are something like very important, right, for physics. Next question. I enjoy my life much more since I switched to Blender. That's nice to hear. Although there are a bunch of things I'm missing in this software. Are there more the things that you that make your life better than the ones you miss though? For instance, is there any plans for constraints in new particle nodes? Yes. Or any no other shenanigans? Yes. Yes, absolutely. But there's a bunch of things I'm missing in this software. Well, this is not even out yet. Booba, I just saw this. Let's see, what is this thing? Blender community, oops. Did I click away? No, here. Let's see, what is this? Modeling from a 2D profile. This is a feature request. I really don't know if this has already been requested. If it were, I'm sorry, but it goes anyway. Many years ago, I was introduced to a small Java program called Teddy from Takeo Igarashi. I thought it was amazing in its simplicity, and I'm sure Blender can benefit a lot from inspiring them. It's basic as you draw a 2D profile and it will come 3D. I think there is room for a lot of improvements. So you make 2D and it becomes 3D. So you create and draw something. Please don't draw anything weird. And then it makes it into 3D. Yes, how does he know though the width, the size, the everything, right? The volume. This can be an add-on easily, right? You just draw and then you like grease pencil and then you convert the grease pencil to a mesh and then it will add a modifier for solidify or a remesh modifier on top, and that can be an add-on easily. But I wonder what would be the usage in every day. Let's see. Yeah, skins. 3D illusions. Are there any plans to allow users to expose any parameter of a node to the group they are in? For example, I was trying to build a shader the other day. Where I needed to allow the end user to set the image to be used by an image texture node without having to dive into the complex node tree. Its functionality will be extremely important. Yes, I agree. I'm not sure. I haven't read anything about this recently, and maybe the Everything Nodes project could, like the fact that a bunch of features have been adding to the node system itself, you know, like very core features, maybe could benefit, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything like this. But yes, here for example, you're missing the one of the most important that I want and that I'm missing is that color ramps. Would be so nice to have color ramps inputs here. All right, so I think I'm getting close to the time. Yes, 1 hour. So let's do 5 more questions. Jose Enriquez, it's really nice to have this space to talk about the development of Blender. Thank you. I have 2 questions. So the first one, is there anything similar to GPU caches? The idea is using it inside Blender in the viewport to allow us to have massive environments loaded. GPU cache, no. In the cache, no. Blender internally caches as much as possible, but you know, you have to edit. You have to access the mesh itself, mesh data, so no. If you want to have massive environments, I would suggest you to just use collections instances instead. Question number 2. Is there any official purpose to make cycles a spectral renderer? I have seen some development on the side that will be amazing. No, not that I know, but if it's, you can actually read all about it in Dev Talk. There is already a thread about cycles spectral. Here there is a thread that is very alive, and you can read more about it here. I'm not following this conversation a lot. It's been a very long thread, but you can see the development going on. Question number 3. Hola Pablo, what now that we have some attention to the UV editor, some attention, please. Now let's go 2.90. Look, there is even a section in the modeling regarding the UV editor. This feature is huge. Have you guys seen it? It's every architect's dream that you can plonk deform your geometry and the UVs are preserved, and the vertex colors too. Isn't that amazing? Edge ring select, pick the shortest path on fill region option, so you can select automatically the points between two sides and it will fill the region inside. Then UV ripping, so you can cut some parts, option to change the opacity of the overlay. So yes, I mean, you can call it some attention, but for me it's a lot of attention because it's any attention before everything. If we were having new features in the UV editor every release, just small, and now we're getting a bit more, that would be some attention, but we didn't get anything in years, and now we get some, so we should be, well, not years, in months, not year, because last year we were in 2.7 a month ago. So yeah, it's very exciting, and especially because now in the developer, in the module of the UV editing, which is in data assets modeling, there should be a UV for game and environment. There is a section, and there is people actually dedicated to work on that, so there is a lot going on. I'm curious what happened with the Summer of Code 2016 UV tools, and is there any hope to revive it? Well, 2016, it's very long ago. This, I think, is what, 2.69, 2.70? Actually, we can know that in Blender.org. In download releases, you can see the list of all the releases, and let's go to here to 2016. 277. Okay, doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. Is maybe the ideas can be taken from here, but there are already, I can't find it, but in the developer website under sub projects, maybe no, workboard. In workboard you can see a whole list of UV stuff. Where is it? I can't find it, but there is a list. I shared it once of all the UV improvements that are being done. Maybe we can ask here, Daniel Beisted. Here, he's been tweaking and making tasks for a bunch of UV tools. Next, question number 4. Hello, Pablo. I'm possible guess a lie. Haha, trick you there. I had you on the first half, not gonna lie. Have you ever tried Blender 279 for Android? Are there any plans for 2.8 as Androids are getting faster and stronger? What do you think? I didn't try it because I think it's not available, Blender 279 for Android, but I tried Blender, I don't remember the version, but it was very long ago, 2.60 something, on an Android. Yes, I had a Samsung Galaxy S3, and there was a build of Blender. Yes, I had the phone, which probably now looks like a Nokia would look. Yeah, in this phone I ran Blender for Android. There was some crazy person, I can't remember when was this, was many years ago, but here, Blender Android APK. Here, there is. You can actually download it. 2013. You can actually download Blender for Android. So this will be a very, very early version of Blender for Android. You can't do much because Blender is not meant for touch screens. So you're gonna see Blender, you're gonna see a cube, you're gonna be able to render. And I remember that it took in this phone, in Galaxy S3, it took the cube 2 seconds to render, which I was really proud of. 2 seconds to render a cube on a phone. And this phone, this kind of phone. Let's continue. So yeah, oh, by the way, if you guys want to check the Android, just search for Google Blender Android and you're gonna find, I wonder if people, instead of asking, ever Googled it, because this is the first option. Yes. Download the Blender.org/demo/Android. Remember, it's gonna be very hard to was that Cycles or internal? Of course it was Blender internal. More eternal. But yeah, 2013, that was probably 269. Nice. 68, 67. One of this. Let's continue. And the 5th question. But yeah, anyway, so to answer this, also to everybody that is asking about Blender for iPad, we get this question all the time. And even I saw on Twitter some people answering, saying that yeah, it's probably gonna be soon because Apple is working on the new silicon for Blender and stuff. The fact that Blender, yeah, that's true actually. Apple announced it on their WWDC. Yes? No. On the developers conference. They announced it that they were working on Blender, on a patch for Blender to run on their new silicon, on the new systems. And the iPads are using that. So yeah, it will be compatible, but having a software run is just like this bit of the whole experience, right? Like, yeah, running it is probably not a big deal. However, interaction. Blender can interact with a pen. So maybe if you have the Apple Pencil, yes, you can. But without this, all these gestures and stuff, that's a whole different world. Also, the iPads, yeah, they are. How much RAM does an iPad have? 2 gigs? No. iPad Pro. 6 gig of RAM. That's nothing. So you could do some things, but you're not gonna be able to do a whole lot because it's still 4 gigs, 6 gigs of RAM. It's not a lot. Yes, they are good processors. They're gonna be fast, but the memory is the memory, right? If you like just load a big, massive texture there, it takes, no matter how good the processor, it's gonna take RAM. So don't expect it to work out of the box on like other software that are optimized for that. So it's gonna take a while. And the last question, actually that was number 1. Let's do one more. Hello, when can we expect the return of Bake to Colors feature, which was removed in 2.7 and which many people can't live without? Baking to vertex color is one of the most basic methods how to save some resources. Fake and missing advanced lighting in all their games. I believe such basic features should be properly implemented. Yes, there are workarounds, but they are limited, so they can be used in some scenarios or at all. Yes. Bake to vertex colors, yes. I am aware of this. The developers are also aware of this. I don't know about the baking in particular for this kind of vertex color, but I'm gonna ask around. I don't know exactly the status of this feature. All right, I think with that, Canseco says if Krita can do an Android port, so can you. Yeah, right, because 2D software is same as the 3D software. Of course. Pablo, I can guess your age. You are 33. How do you know? I always thought I looked younger. Huh. I'm looking at the chat, by the way, now, so say hi if you're around. Daniel Bison made an add-on for this. Wow. All right, so follow Daniel Bystedt. Let's see. Best news on the Blender conference. Thank you. I hope you guys and girls join the Blender conference. It's gonna be an online event. We're all gonna watch this documentary kind of a thing where you're gonna see people from all over the world. Maybe a, I don't know, 100-minute video, 1.5 hour show of putting together all the videos from everybody in the world. I think it's gonna be fun, and everybody's gonna have their like a little box where they can get comfort, and there are gonna be goodies in there. You think you already know a bit of what is gonna be in there. Maybe a t-shirt, maybe some stroopwafels, which are some cookies, Dutch cookies. So gonna have a bit of everything. Reasons to join. All right, so any plans on Blender? More Blender merch. My USB is falling apart. Would be, I don't know, do we need that? Love your accent, love your voice. Thank you, that's very nice. Blender with Aaron. Pablo, use a Quadro RTX 4000. Yes, I actually have it's a Quadro RTX 4000. This is a laptop that if you follow the live streams, you know that it was given to me by Box one after my laptop got stolen last year in at SIGGRAPH. They were very nice to just give me one in the spot, so I'm very grateful I have been able to make this live stream because of that. All right, I think I can go. I can call it a day. Thank you. Gracias. Obrigado. Grazie. Merci. Tak. Arigato. I can't remember anymore. Dankeschön, dankjewel. All of them. All of them. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spasibo, of course, spasibo. Sayonara. Oh, that's bye-bye. Thank you, gracias. See you next week. Same place, same time. With Blender 2.90. Next week we're gonna have Blender 2.9 around us. Oh my gosh. Alright, see you. Bye.